In his last press conference, Mikel Arteta confirmed that his team needs rotation and some changes are going to be done very, very quickly. What we're going to do in this video is suggesting 5 changes Mikel Arteta needs to make to the starting 11 for Arsenal to win again. Arsenal have gone 4 games in competitive football without a win. They picked up 1 point out of possible 9 in the Premier League. This video is not about trashing players that we are going to be selecting to be dropped, but it's about Arsenal becoming better and finding some kind of breathing space and breathing new life into the team. And I agree with Mikel Arteta. The team really needs to be changed. The team really needs to be updated. It looks like teams have found a way of stopping Arsenal from scoring, but then also a way of scoring against Arsenal and making sure that they walk away with 3 points against us. So let's get into it. What are some of the 5 changes that I think Mikel Arteta needs to make as we go into the Aston Villa, Leicester City and Everton games that are going to be very crucial to our title race this season? Hit the like button if you like the podcast. Do subscribe to the podcast as well because we are growing very, very fast. And of course, your opinions and thoughts in the comment box below as always. Now, change number 1 is Benjamin White at right back. I think Benjamin White this season has been absolutely phenomenal. He's been doing very, very well. And I think he's one of those right backs that you could actually say, if you're voting for player of the year, at their various clubs, then Benjamin White could be mentioned. But in the last 3, 4, 5 games, Ben has actually dropped up. He's actually become the kind of guy that every Arsenal fans looks at and goes, he's not playing well. Why is he starting every single game? Now, the system that Mikel Arteta is playing is a 4-3-3 system in possession. Arsenal do have so many players going forward, and Benjamin White, as a player who doesn't actually go into those overlapping positions, allows the team that little bit of room, especially in terms of having more defenders while out of position. So literally what it does is creating that that stronger rest defense. When Arsenal are in position, their rest defense looks a little bit better and in shape with Benjamin White. Now, the problem with Ben White this campaign is that in games such as Everton, in games such as Manchester United, in games such as Brentford, he's being overrun, he's being overpowered by wingers. In the Everton game, I think Dwight McNeil had a very, very big impact in that game, and Benjamin White really struggled. He struggled against Marcus Rashford in the Manchester United game, and Brian Mbeumo as well had a laugh and a fantastic evening against him. So I think teams are really finding out the weaknesses of Benjamin White on the right-hand side, and it's high time. For me, it's just about time that Mikel Arteta starts playing Tomiyasu on the right-hand side. I think Tomiyasu is a very, very fantastic player, and I know many Arsenal fans won't be very, very happy that Tomiyasu gave away very, very easy chances to Kevin De Bruyne and Jack Grealish last evening when we played Manchester City. But this is my reasoning behind Tomiyasu. Very solid defensively, can play as a centre-back as well, but going forward, he offers more than Benjamin White. Saka at times needs those kind of overlaps. Need that kind of guy that can run past him, cross the ball into the final third. And we saw that Eddie Nketiah missing chance after chance, and even Tomiyasu getting a chance to shoot on goal just after moments after Arsenal had conceded in the Manchester City game. So I think Tomiyasu needs to play more football. He needs to start games better. I think he's a better fullback than Benjamin White. He provides more than Ben White, and I think defensively he's never been a liability for Arsenal apart from the Manchester City game. And the reason excuse for him, he's not played football in a very, very long time. Now, it remains to be seen if Mikel Arteta will make a change in that area, because there's so many other changes that he has to make. There's so many other areas where he has to make. Defensively, Arsenal have been conceding 3 against Manchester City, conceding 1 against Brentford, and conceding 1 as well against Everton, meaning that Arsenal have conceded 5 goals in the last 3 games. That is uncharacteristic of the Arsenal defense and the Arsenal team this campaign. So for me, Benjamin White is one of the changes Mikel Arteta has to make. The rest of the defense is actually struggling a little bit, but they will bounce back. They will find their form. The partnership between Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes has actually been very, very, very good. And then Alexander Zinchenko has been phenomenal as a left back and a new addition in the side. So Benjamin White needs to be rotated for 3-5 games, and then I think when Tomiyasu gets used to the position, and then Ben White is ready to come back, there is no problem. We can go back to playing Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, and Alexander Zinchenko. But for now, with the first change I would suggest for now is Benjamin White out and Tomiyasu in the team. Now, the second change that we have to do is not in midfield. I know many of us are actually looking at Granit Xhaka as one of those players that needs to be rotated. No, I think our midfield this season has already suffered a huge blow with Thomas Partey now being in and out of the team. He's struggling with injury, he's playing with an injury, and he didn't play any minutes against Manchester City, which I think actually created a lot of problems for us. We didn't actually have that kind of guy, the box-to-box, engine of Thomas Partey was missing. That kind of guy that just drives through the midfield, that kind of guy that, intercepts, wins the ball back, turns, and then passes the ball forward. Jorginho was actually very, very good in that game, but he is simply not Thomas Partey. And that is why I think Xhaka and Odegaard need to retain their simple kind of partnership. I think they're not doing very well, but they need to retain their simple partnership. But this is where the change comes in midfield. Fabio Vieira should start coming on at 60 to 70 minutes in the game. I think Xhaka is a very good player, and when we start games, I think it gives us a kind of solid in midfield. He solidifies the midfield. He actually does very, very well. But in the end, and this is a very, very bad, in the end, Granit Xhaka's output going forward, creating chances and creating an alternative when Gabriel Martinelli is blocked off, when Odegaard is blocked off, when Saka is blocked off, he doesn't provide an alternative. So for me, Fabio Vieira doesn't deserve to be starting in games because I've not seen a massive change. I've not seen a massive drift in Fabio Vieira's game. I've not seen him as a player who comes into games, switches things up, and just allows us to be a better side. I've not seen that. All I'm seeing is a guy who comes onto the game and plays, literally average, right? And I think he needs to change that. If you're coming into games where Arsenal need to win, you're a creative player. You're literally in number 10. You're born as a number 10. You're a creative player. We bring you on the pitch to have a second creative outlet. You need to be doing better than that. So for me, the second change is instead of Fabio Vieira coming on in the 80th minute, 85th minute, Mikel Arteta needs to start bringing him on in the 70th minute or even early in the 65th minute. It just allows more creativity on the team. It just allows Arsenal to be that kind of team. There's a little bit unpredictable. You cannot be so predictable even with the substitutions. It cannot be like that. So that is the second change that I think Mikel Arteta should start doing, starting with the Aston Villa game. The third change is dropping Gabriel Martinelli. I think this is quite very, very forward. I've seen so many Arsenal fans really frustrated with Gabriel Martinelli. And the reason as to why Gabriel should be dropped is not because he's become a bad player all of a sudden, but he has a very good partnership with Gabriel Jesus, who is playing for Arsenal no more at the moment. So I think you need a player who is going to have that independent drive, and that is Leandro Trossard. But don't drop Gabriel Martinelli totally. Don't drop him fully. I'm going to tell you the reason why Gabriel Martinelli must be dropped from the left-hand side, but then remains in the starting 11. So this is my opinion. Leandro Trossard should be starting instead of Gabriel Martinelli on the left-hand side. Trossard has been a very, very good player ever since signing for Arsenal. I think the change that he has brought to the team is utterly and absolutely visible. He's scoring the goals. He's already getting into the goals. He's creating the chances. He's running at defenses. And I think he's always faking those movements in and out, which allow Zinchenko run past defenders, which allow Xhaka run past defenders. He's actually doing very, very well. And if you signed him for £27 million in January, there are only two things. One, you trust him. You've invested £27 million in him. You trust him, and you believe even when your team is actually not doing very well, he can be that kind of guy. Okay, he can be that kind of guy that starts or brings some changes. So for me, Trossard must be starting on the left-hand side, can score, can dribble, can run, can cool the tempo of the game, can do everything on the left-hand side. Start him. There is no reason why you buy such a player of his quality, of his caliber, and then you don't start him, you don't play him, even when things are actually going very, very wrongly for him. So for me, Leandro Trossard needs to start. And also, I think, yes, teams will be trying to double up on Leandro Trossard, but he's got that ability to move inside, walk inside with the ball, something that Gabriel Martinelli doesn't have, especially at the moment. When Gabriel Jesus comes back, then Gabriel Martinelli should right away get back to the left-hand side, and then Gabriel Jesus down through the middle. But the biggest change that I think Arsenal need to make is with Eddie Nketiah. I'm sorry, I've always not been the biggest follower, the biggest guy who believes in Eddie Nketiah, and I'm still not that guy, right? Down through the middle, Arsenal need to make some changes. And Gabriel Martinelli, we have seen how clinical he is. We have seen that if you release him, right, he can run. He is another Marcus Rashford. Many people have told me, well, he's not a number 9, he's not this. Marcus Rashford is the left winger, but much of his business, much of the work he's doing right now for Manchester United is down through the middle. He's getting those chances and is barring them. Gabriel Martinelli has the same elements of Marcus Rashford, and what I think I love with Gabriel Martinelli is if you played him down through the middle, he would allow Saka and Leandro Trossard come inside. Eddie Nketiah doesn't do that because he's a number 9. Right? He's a number 9, and that's why we're not getting the goals from Saka and Martinelli. He's a number 9. He's occupying that space always. He doesn't allow Saka and Gabriel Martinelli to run into the penalty area. He's always expecting to be served. He's always expecting that service. And when he gets the service, what is he actually doing? He's actually wasting chance after chance. I'm sorry, Eddie. I love you so much. You're a good player, but like I said before, when you sign your contract, you are a Wolfsburg kind of guy. You are a Brighton player. You are a Crystal Palace player. You are a Hamburg SV player. You are a Borussia Mönchengladbach player. Okay? You are not Arsenal material. You're not a world-class striker. You're not the kind of guy that should be backing up Gabriel Jesus. The level of players that should be backing up Gabriel Jesus is Ivan Toney, Brian Mbeumo. Those are the kind of guys they've got the physicality, they can run, and they're very, very clinical. So I'm sorry, Eddie gets out of the lineup, and then Martinelli should be playing down to the middle, just like Marcus Rashford. Those are 4 changes, and the 5th change is Emile Smith-Rowe. Now, he's been injured. We know that, and I think Mikel Arteta, has already said it. If he comes back, he's going to be a massive, massive addition. We need him. He's a player that cannot be out for the whole season. Last campaign, double figures in terms of scoring goals. This campaign has not featured for us anywhere. But the good thing with Emile Smith-Rowe is he plays each and every position attacking-wise. Left midfield, right midfield, left wing, right wing, false 9, everywhere you can play him. And, this tendency of teams doubling up on our players, he gives you that extra option. He gives you that extra man who no one knows when he's going to be, where he's going to be, and what he's going to do with the ball, right? Good at dribbling, good at running into spaces, good at stretching the pitch, good at, good at those rebounds. So, Emile Smith-Rowe should be the other change that Mikel Arteta makes. Whether that is at the expense of Granit Xhaka, whether that is at the expense of Gabriel Martinelli, it doesn't matter. He must stay in the team. He must get into the team because his quality is unmatched, and for me, he's better than many of the players that we are actually playing at the moment. So those are my 5 changes that we need to make quickly and ASAP. If you love this video, then check out the video I've done on Kosi's Arsenal podcast, why Arsenal need a plan B, and why Mikel Arteta needs a plan B very, very quickly. But then also, I'm going to be dropping a video of drop. There are some untouchable names in the Arsenal team that are not being dropped. We need to talk about them I'm doing a video there, so make sure you watch it as well. But just like always, you know the drill. Hit the like button, subscribe as well, and in the comment section, let's have the discussions. 5 changes. Do they win us the title? Do they win us the league, or are we still far away? See you in the next one.